What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about plastics storage. More specifically, if you are a kayak angler, these are all amazing solutions for you. Whether you paddle, you pedal, you gotta sit inside, you gotta sit on top, you gotta whatever. I will say if you're a bank angler, like potentially you could throw this stuff obviously in your truck. Like there's some good storage solutions if I was just going like pond to pond that I might use just, in the backseat of my truck, and it would be really helpful. But mostly this is for the yackers. So yak fam, pay attention. We got some cool stuff for you today. We're gonna rank them as far as like our favorites that we've used, our least favorites that we use, like pros and cons of each. So I think this will be helpful for you guys if you're out there shopping around trying to find some solutions. And also, what should they do before we start the video?
They could smash the like button. They could
they
ring the notification bell.
Ring it.
You could throat punch the subscribe button.
That's just so rude.
I know.
What a visceral reaction.
It's ruthless, but it's really important that you just let the YouTube algorithm know how important it is that you subscribe to the BurlyFishing channel. But seriously, we appreciate all of you guys very much. And please come check us out Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern for our live streaming podcast. We have people from all over the fishing industry. We just had that bass fishing dude not too long ago, and a lot of our, people that we like to hang out with. So, including you in chat. So please come check that out.
I'm just imagining like if the algorithm actually cared about how aggressively you like clicked the button.
If you don't break your mouse subscribing to this channel,
then you don't even care. All right, let's get into this. So we're gonna walk through a whole bunch of options for plastic storage, from like, bags like this to bags like this to also gigantic plastic bins. So what do we start? We're starting with smallest, right?
I think we should go smallest to largest.
Smallest to largest.
The thought process here, again, we're gonna rank these on a couple things. One is cost, for sure. One is the amount of storage that you're getting. The other thing is how flexible that storage is. Because one thing you'll find is clamshells, size of the plastics that you're trying to store in some of these, all of those things play into, like, do I need to have 6 of these little bags, or can I get away with 1 of these big tubs? And then how much flexibility do I have within that? So those are the things that go into it. I will say, Jeff and I, we've probably tried, I know everything that I see, I've tried at least once.
I've tried everything.
Yeah, and it's something that we've also changed over time. We kind of started with a big tub, migrated over to a bunch of small bags, and then now we're kind of back on the big tub
Back
game.
to the tub.
This is all a matter of preference. We will rank
them
all. We will rank each one of these different options based on those different points of interest as they apply to you.
It's like POI.
I love it.
Quick caveat, if you're one of the folks out there, and like, I'm not knocking anybody, if you're like, hey man, you just need a green pumpkin Senko and like you're gonna rock the world, like, more power to you. You have to understand that if you're like a tournament angler, or if you're a kitchen sink angler, or an aggressively average angler, if you're not in our club, consider joining. We're gonna make sure it's gonna happen. So if you're in our club, you probably have a lot of plastics on you, or if you're a member of subscription boxes, like, you definitely have a lot of plastics. They accrue over time. So understand that this is actually like I would say a downsized approach that we've taken.
It is, yeah.
That gives us every possible thing we want, from creature baits to drop shot and Ned rig baits to like trick worms, regular worms, like the works. We've got everything we need.
Yeah.
And we consider ourselves, thanks to that bass fishing dude gave us this idea, more like the adventure kayak anglers. So like, we go to new lakes all the time. So we do not know what's gonna work. So assuming you're going to a new body of water, you don't know what's gonna work, you're in a tournament, you're a kitchen sink angler, like, this is the video for you.
Well, and I will say this too.
And if you're a minimalist, just use this one thing.
That's exactly right.
Now.
It's more of an approach type deal, because I've had a lot of people say, this is the larger speed bag we'll go through in a second, but there's one that's half this size, and they're like, that's all I take. Or there's...
And that's cool.
Yeah, there's Ethan, the online outdoorsman. He takes a fanny pack, and that's all he needs for a day. So
But he's fishing donkey tails. It's kind of cheating.
But that's what we're going to get to. It's very much an approach thing. So Jeff makes a great point. If you're somebody who's in a tournament, you can't be without the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 things that you need. So this is not this is approach specific. So understand that we're just going to rank each one of these things as far as how we fish. We typically bring, probably, if there's high-end tournament angler, there's someone who brings 1 bag of plastics, we're probably like a 7 on that scale.
Aggressively average.
We're aggressively average, we're bringing probably more than average, but not
or so bags.
But I don't have every square inch in my boat pack.
Yep. All right, so let's go into number 1 here. So this is a monster bass bag specifically, but this is like, what are these, 9 by 11?
Something like that, yeah.
It's like a 9 by 11 inch bag. It just puffs out like that. Doesn't have a flat bottom or a wide open bottom to it. You'll see one that does in a minute. But it's just like kind of a basic plastic zipper bait bag, which is awesome. It's super cheap. You can find them anywhere.
I think these are like $5 on the site. And actually they are now coming with the subscription. So if you have a Monster Bass subscription,
you'll
instead
get
of
one.
the box, you're getting one of these bags.
Just subscribe. You could use code SAVE15, SAVE15. I don't know. If you're a new subscriber, you get $15 off, and it helps us here at the show. So we appreciate it.
But use the code down below when you go to the site.
There's a link in our description you guys can click, and then use that code SAVE15. There you go.
That's basically telling them that Jeff and Paul sent you, and that helps us out a lot. So please do that. But seriously, these bags are awesome. I use these constantly.
How many are in here?
So I've done this multiple times.
Look at that.
You can jam this full of 25 to 30 plastics, like at a full range. I actually use this when I'm fishing with my son if we're just going to go on a really quick trip. 5 bags of plastics at the absolute most. A pair of pliers.
It's a day bag
with
for me.
scissors on them. 1 extra pair of line, and then a little bit of terminal tackle. And that's just what I'm grabbing with me to go. So I actually like these a lot. I use them. Now the one thing too, Jeff mentioned, no flat bottom. That means that this doesn't open up a ton.
It can't go forever.
It constrict. It
will die.
It definitely constricts the amount of plastics. But I will say this: it makes them way easier to stack, like to slot together. So I
find your.
If you're a kayak crate guy, all you have to do is you can put in the Hobie crate, but in like a regular milk crate, you can fit 5 or 6 of these across, which means you can have your worms, your flukes, your paddle tails, et cetera, all the way down. And then on here, on this little zipper, you can put a little tag, a zip tie, anything with some color to just say, oh, look, there's my, I know my flukes are in green. Boom, gone. And that actually makes these very useful. I use these for probably over half a season, having 6 of these as my primary plastic storage. Very nice because, again, they fit vertically very well. When the bottoms flare out, they get hard to pull out, and then they get even harder to put back in, so you end up putting it in upside down. It's a pain in the neck. So having them be like this is actually super useful, or can be.
So the only other con I'll call out, and we'll move on to the next piece here, is that these zippers do not have a long lifetime. They will bust. It's gonna happen. They've done better with like just stitching like this end here and just trying to protect it a little bit more. But what you'll find is like if you overstuff these things, the zipper is going to break. Like it's just a fact.
100%.
And then the other thing is that it's not like super permeable. This is not bulletproof. This will bust. If you put baits with hooks in here, they're gonna poke through the side. If these types of bags, depending on the material, if they get too cold, they'll just shatter. Like straight up break.
They've had 2 different kinds. This is the one that people gravitate to. I think it's because the majority of the country is not getting ice, and so I think from what Monster Bass hears as far as feedback, this is the more durable plastic.
For you warm weather boys.
Yeah,
girls,
this is
but not us.
This is the PVC one, I believe. So this is a PVC-based plastic. It's great, but I actually saved 2 of the original bags that are a softer, I think it's a TPU plastic.
And you're gonna see another brand that uses that in a second.
And those hold up much better to cold. So those I actually have 2 of those that I use for ice fishing season, and I'm not ever gonna give away. We give away these all the time on the show. I just gave away 2 last week.
I'm out. I literally just got, the first one I just got back was this month's Monster Bass bag.
But you're not getting those because I need them for ice fishing season. I get them all the time. So too bad.
All right, moving on.
Great option. And probably, I would say right off the bat, I'm going to say this is the highest value option.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically free, and it holds a ton of plastics, and then you can stack them, and with the pull zip idea that Paul just gave you,
super
it's
easy.
Money. So we mentioned another option for bags. You got these. So this is actually from 6 Cents. It has that pop-out bottom right there, so these actually stand up perfectly fine on any surface. That does mean if you're a crate person that you can't stack them very well.
Not as easily.
They'll have to alternate up and down pretty much in order for it to work, and then you can stack a whole bunch in a crate. It's totally fine. This is also like the XL Pro bag, so you are paying a bit more. I think they run 12 to 15 bucks.
12 to 15 bucks. They're usually on clearance depending on the color. We got these on clearance.
This is the heater sack. This is our buddy Justin Royal. He's been on the show. Friend of the show, Justin Royal. We can say stuff like that.
We're
all right. We're allowed.
The other thing, there's some premium features here, so you're getting a much more dense, more material, more stitching on the ends. So for your bang for your buck, you're getting maybe potentially a little bit more.
And you'll notice I have all clamshells in here. So what's nice about an extra large bag like this and this like kind of more flexible, tougher material is that I can stuff it absolutely full of clamshells. There's 16 in here right now. Some of them are gigantic, like these Slamamanders here from Fish Lab. We've also got like a
paddle tails.
Bass Pro paddle tail. It's a 7-incher in there.
The biggest paddle tail that I was able to fit in vertically in mine was an 8-inch Kitech. That is the 7.5, 8-inch Kitech. And also
it's a 3-pack.
The one theme you'll notice as we go through each one of these different options is clamshells are a problem in a kayak.
Clamshells are the worst thing in the world. I'll just say it. I wish they didn't exist.
I appreciate why clamshells exist. It's good. It's good to maintain the shape of your expensive plastics and you know all that. But it does create a problem in a kayak when you have limited storage and you're trying to bring a lot of stuff. So my storage, I mentioned to you guys, I was using these Monster Bass bags for all my plastics. I kept this exact same bag only for clamshells. I was able to fit roughly 15 clamshells, with some of them being very tall or very long.
Yeah, or just crammed in there.
If you got some of these smaller ones, like these 6 cents paddle tails, the Divine swim baits, I could probably fit 15 or 20 inside this XL bag, which is significantly better than what you're going to find with some of these other not flat bottom options.
Right.
But you do have to pay for this one, and it's not going to come with your subscription. So there's always that. I will say I did have one of these at all times last year.
Yeah. So I probably also rocked one of these for half a season.
But the drawback too is if you're using these for regular plastics, you could fit way more. You could probably fit 35 bags in here. The problem is you will never get past the bottom half.
You'll lose them.
It's actually too tall.
we legit, at the end of the season, we cleared these out, right? So I got to the bottom of my bag and I was like, oh shoot, I had this in there this whole time. Or there will be times where I'm like, man, I really got to get like my Nico baits, right? So Nico baits are tiny bags most of the time. So I'd be like, oh, I want my Nico Baits leech. So I get it in my bag. I'm like, I know they're in here. And it's just buried and it's kind of like digging into sand and the sand keeps collapsing back on top of it. So all the other baits
you
fall
end up with these bags 2 different layers, right? That's why I use these for clamshells, because it's just easy to see what's in there.
Pretty much just clamshells.
And like, yes, you can, the nice thing about these being clear is yes, you can see what's in like maybe your top layer or bottom layer, but you can't see inside like inside the core
middle,
layer
the core of the earth is what you're trying to get to.
They can't get lost in a bag that's this big. That's my only watch out. It seems like an easy fix. It's maybe not as simple as it seems.
Takes up a lot of space, really mostly good for clamshells, is built really well, but you will lose plastics in it. So just things to consider. Okay, next up, Paul is gonna hold this one because I don't like touching this bag at all. This bag is disgusting feeling.
This is the KVD Speed Bag by Plano. I will say this right now, I'm gonna be less kind to this bag than people probably expect.
I won't even touch it.
A lot, and I need to say this though, a lot of people love these bags and speak very highly of them. I'll walk you through the intent behind this bag. So the intent behind this bag is pretty thin. It's maybe 3 or 4 inches wide, and it's pretty long. It's the length of 2 standard plastic bags, like this.
But it doesn't take up a ton of space, which is definitely appealing for a kayak angler.
Same with the height. It's a little bit long, a little bit taller than a standard plastic worm bag.
My hands are tingling from touching this.
It is okay. We're gonna address this because Jess mentioned it 12 times. It's coated. It's like a vinyl, and it's coated in a DWR type waterproof finish, so that you're not getting like a ton of water permeation here because it is just soft on the bottom. Now, one thing you'll notice is that there's a stitch line right here, and that is not just for like visual appeal. There's a very specific purpose behind it. There are actually 2 pockets here and here, and there's I don't know, I think it's harder plastic, but there's a plastic plate that runs the length of this way and this way on both sides. So what that means is, as you can see, the zipper runs lengthwise. When you open this up, it's pretty, the concept is very cool.
It's pretty fast.
The zippers only go halfway through here, so it's easy to open. But then as you pull this down, it's supposed to open the entire bag of plastics along that seam and maintain its shape, which is a super good idea. Like
quick access.
In theory, this is a really good idea. So the whole thing just opens up and you can kind of library through your plastics. Now the idea is that you can fit maybe 20 worms this way and 20 worm bags this way. Obviously, you end up with some larger bags like the Z Bait Co.
They screw everything up.
Yeah, well, they kind of do. They're kind of a problem. But they are beautiful. It is beautiful packaging, and it's a worm that I can't live without. So I actually have...
But they could make smaller packages.
They could make smaller packages.
Z Bait Co., I'm just saying.
I would appreciate
the package down
I actually
a little bit.
I double mine up a lot of times. Like I'll
stuff it full.
That's what I do. That's how I get around it.
I do the same with a lot
and I
of
take the inserts. I take the inserts out, even though you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what you're going to see here is the idea is you can fit 40 bags in here. I would say That's theoretically, if you end up with some like trick worms, like these fat 13 finesse worms. And
got a clamshell in there.
If you got a couple clamshells in here, I would say realistically, 25, well, I'd say 30 to 35, somewhere in there. And here's my gripes just in general with this bag. Well, the bonuses.
I don't want to touch it ever. That's my gripe.
The bonuses are, this is pretty slim and trim. So you could fit under the Hobie 360 Pro Angler, you probably fit 4 or 5 of these along, like sliding them this way underneath the seat. That is very nice. And they're very inexpensive. I mean,
they're basically free.
There's a small one that's about half this length that people absolutely love, and it's only $10. I totally get that. That's also a great deal. This one's like less than 20. This is, I think, 15 bucks normally. That's a very, very good value. So I will give it the value proposition. The problems I have with this, the things that I don't like is it doesn't hold as many plastics as I really would like. No. Oh, the other benefit is that they're all vertical. If you do it this way, you're not going to lose anything.
Yeah, so that library through, like
very hard to lose things. So I do like that. I do not like the material. I don't like the fact that the bottom is actually soft. I know that some people will like that. I personally don't, because mine is always going to be potentially sitting in some water. And if I don't have it totally full, I like it to be nice and neat in my kayak, so it's easier to pull out. Having it be kind of like sticky, this is just going to get shredded over time for me. I also don't like these handles at all. I understand why they're there, handles. But I don't like these handles. I wish there was one handle on the side. Me, that's again a personal thing.
Because if it's under your seat, so we're sit on top kayakers, if it's under your seat, like we want to be able to just reach down, grab it, pull it out, like
preference. 100% preference. But at the price point, for what it does, I do think this is a good value, and it does, I will say, for the number of plastics that you can hold without losing them, this is one of the better options. It's a nice little library.
But I will never use it.
Horrific for clamshells. This is horrific for clamshells.
Horrific.
You will never.
It is an absolute nightmare for the clamshells.
This is a travesty for the clamshells. So this is basically worms and even, honestly, even craws, because craws come in some tall bags. That's going to be a problem. But for anything...
You will never get a Nico Bates craw or a Fish Lab Slamamander in there.
But for worm bags, and I will say this is an excellent tube, and if this is your... If this was an ultralight bag, you could fit more than you probably could ever use just in this one bag, or even the half size.
That's good.
So these can be a good value. I recognize people like them. I personally am probably never going to use this ever again. You might even see this as a giveaway.
So, on the same note, yet something I can actually handle with my hands, I want to jump to this one. So this is 6 cents. They make these nice little bags. It probably looks familiar. It looks kind of like a men's daub kit. It's like if you go to
like a bathroom bag.
Hold please. I legit went to TJ Maxx and I picked up this Hurley daub kit. Like this is just a men's bathroom bag or whatever. It actually has the handle. Kit. You could straight up use this in the exact same manner, and it actually has a front zipper pocket.
But it will absolutely get soaked.
And it was also $5.88, but it is not made for what we do. Yeah. So nice things about this one, you do have a label. Not nice thing about the label, it's just a piece of cardboard. So they could have done way better with that. I'd rather have like the dry erase material that they used right here. We've already done it. Like, that's easy. We've already made it. Why would you make this?
It would be cool.
If any water touches this, now the stupid cardboard thing's ruined. Anyways, they got Lego stitching on the side, blah, blah, blah. They got handles and things. The zipper is nice.
There's a little pocket.
What? Oh, yeah. There's a pocket I'm never, ever going to use.
Literally never used it once.
There's nothing you can put in here that would make any sense. Like maybe pliers.
You could put a license in there. If you're a bank angler, you could definitely put like a license.
If this is all you took, yeah, for sure.
Some toilet paper.
Like one sheet of toilet paper. You're just like,
hey, so you need to be economical.
Just if I need it. Okay, so easy to open. Thing kind of like falls open though, like this. It is soft all around. So there's no hard plastic around the sides like you see on the KVD Speed Bag, so it doesn't hold its shape very well. But it does hold a heck ton of plastics. I mean, this is my tubes and flukes bag. There's a ton in there. You can library through it, so that's pretty convenient. And although it looks like a smaller bag, like it holds easily 25, 30 plastics.
I think 25 is probably a good safe number to say.
Without like stuffing it too full.
It does have the flip-floppy handles, which I understand for boat anglers, these are great bags because they pull them above.
But no front handle for kayak anglers, so that's kind of another con.
Low quality zipper.
All around, it's fine. Also super cheap, usually
I think these are probably $10 to $15 range. No, they're less than that. I think these are the $8 to $12 range. It does have a...
But you can find them on clear, like these we got on clearance
all the time
for like $4 or $5 off on the 6 Cents website.
This is like a vinyl-y plastic too. So I don't really...
It's pleather.
Yeah,
it's pleather is
we'll
what it is.
pleather.
It's going to crack and fall apart over time is what it's going to do.
But it will stand up to water pretty well. And it actually has stood up to water fairly well. It has, I would say, a medium quality.
I mean, to be fair, we beat the tar out of these things. Like this one right here, I'll open up the front cargo bin and just chuck it in there all the time.
That's what it's for.
That is what it's for. But over time, like I'd say a year, 2 years, this is probably going to fall apart. But all in all, decent. Anyways, next up, we got the big boy version of that. So we got the 6 Cents large worm bag. And this one has a label on the wrong side that makes Paul very mad. So check this out. We do have what we asked for, right? Front handle. So these, you can fit 4 of these, I would say, safely under the seat in the Hobie Pro Angler.
Practicality, 3.
They stack though. So wide, they're pretty wide. You can fit like 2, 3 doesn't really make sense. So you can fit like 2 wide underneath. There's actually a recessed tray under the Hobie Pro Angler, and some other kayak brands will definitely have that too. So they sit in there very securely, and then you just reach under your seat, you pull the thing out. The problem is when you pull it out, what are you looking at? Oh, you're looking at nothing. There's nothing right here because this is where we open it. So we want this to be the front.
Yes.
But this is technically the front.
Where your cardboard tag is.
So you have to pull this out, zip it. You can read your logo or you can read your label right there, and then you open it up kind of backwards and then zip it back.
It's just not ideal.
It is a speed zipper, which is kind of nice. It's a kind of a chintzy handle. It's not going to hold up very long.
You can do rope on that though, and
you can replace it for sure.
And it works fairly well, but when these get stuffed, there's 2 problems I have with these. When these get overly stuffed, which inevitably they will be.
It folds over itself.
And the bags, it's so easy to lose a bag in these, it's not even funny.
So like you can see from the front and the back, they're kind of like pyramiding in like this. So your middle bags are like very much buried. And then what'll happen, what happened to our bamboo bombers last year from Z-Bait is we would go underneath and be like, oh, where did this come from?
They've been in here for years.
It was on the bottom. Like they just get kind of pushed down and flattened out, and you'll never ever find them. So because of the shape of the bag, it's just kind of inconvenient that way.
This is a good idea.
Also useless front pocket.
Yeah.
Wait, where is it? It's got Velcro on it too. Pointless. Cool.
It's a really good option.
Very cheap.
They're very inexpensive. They're usually on clearance. I use 4 of these for
we use 4 for half a season.
I feel like I put enough time into to say that it can be good.
I hated it.
You'll find yourself trimming down your assortment often.
We did. We cut so far back on plastics, which was good.
Yeah, but to make it work the way that you want it to work. And I think that you'll also find that I never used the tag, and it frustrated me constantly because I would be like checking every single time, like, where's my ultralight? Where's my paddle tails? Where's my and like. It
doesn't help because we bought all the clearance bags and they were all the exact same cheap camo one.
There are many solutions to that problem.
These are all the same bag. Which one's which?
It was an issue.
The label's on the wrong side, so we're like, ah!
Mentally very frustrated. It is. I will say this. It is a good option. It's a great truck option. If you have just 2 of them, I think if you can get it down to 2, you're in a great spot. I don't want to discourage anyone from using them. I do want to discourage somebody who is going to be using more than 2 of these to buy either 2 to 4 different colors.
Get all different colors.
Get some sort of tag
system. Make your own system.
You gotta have a system because you will get frustrated.
You're not gonna read the labels.
And understand, once you get past 25 bags of plastics, you're going to start mysteriously losing them. So just
they're in there.
Be prepared. But they're in there.
They're in there somewhere.
Yeah. So
they went to another dimension.
That's my thought.
Yep. All right, so yeah, great bags though. Like again, all around, like the understanding here is like we might say major cons for us. It's because we fished all of these at least half a season. So we put the time on the water with these, and that's the point of a review, isn't it? Moving into the rest of this is all hard cases. So we're gonna get into like the you can't cram these together because they have a fixed dimensional range. So
they're hard-sided.
They're hard. I mean, that's what I said. So next up, we got a flambeau. Flambeau? All right, so this is, it's a nifty idea. We're gonna talk about some problems with it, but you've got a fixed dimensional plastic bin that has a hinge on the back, and it just opens up like this. So how could this be convenient for a kayak angler? Well, number one, you have that handle that we keep asking for. So this could go under your seat, you pull that out, or if you're in like a sit inside kayak, it could be forward and you have it tucked all the way up in the bow. So then you can pull it to you, flips open, seems hyper convenient. It does have dividers in it. That's really cool. So you can separate specific types of plastics. I love that about it. So it's also Z-Rust. So I mean, it's rust proof. Like you're not going to have to worry about water like sitting in the bottom. It's fine. You just dump it out. It's
super cheap. These
not
are
the end of the world.
10 to 15, I think 15 bucks or so, 15 to 20.
As of the filming of this, but probably not now.
$13.
It was $12.88 on Amazon. So every now and then, if you just pay attention, you'll get it for like 20% off, 25% off. So with this, seems good and all. Here's the problems that we have. One, flambeau hinges have a terrible history of just breaking. Yeah. I've never had a flambeau hinge that survived, honestly.
And without the hinge,
they all break.
And without the hinge, this box is almost
useless.
On the useless side.
If this breaks, you're done. I've had that happen with my spinnerbait boxes. I've had it happen with my, what is the 3600, 3500 size tackle trays. That has broken on me. Like once the hinge is gone, the box is gone. Like,
there's no clip on it. It
worthless.
won't stay closed. If you've got taller plastics, it's pushing the lid up. You're gonna try and grab it and forget that the hinge is broken. Everything's gonna fall out. Like it's just. I've been there.
So that's not ideal. Also, these dividers only have one spot they can go in.
Yes.
So you can notice here, like Paul just threw one in the back here because he didn't want it where it's supposed to go. You got a fixed spot that it has to be in. So that's not ideal.
It also doesn't hold as many plastics as you think that it would.
It holds way less than
I think that it would. You would think.
How many are in here now?
This, well, not even 28, I think, are in here.
28 looks pretty full, doesn't it?
You're probably 40-ish bags of plastics.
You could cram them in there.
It will handle some clamshells a little bit better because it is taller.
Yep.
But I want to do a quick comparison.
Tall.
Look at the comparison. Same amount of plastics. Yep. And I mean, just like I could do 2 of these for the same deal. Like it kind of doesn't.
The same amount of space in a kayak for sure.
No, it is more durable, right, than a bag.
The hinge isn't.
It is more waterproof. Than a bag.
That is
it
nice.
Slides like a bag doesn't slide, and it stacks like bags won't stack. So it has some things that I like about it. The price is right. The Z-Rust is great. The brand overall, I recommend them to everybody for different things. This one for me, it's okay under a seat, but once it breaks, you're screwed. And I would rather have, I hate to say it, 3 of these for $10 more than 1 of these. And fit it in the same spot.
All right, so next up we've got the ultra cheap, probably the most inexpensive version of all this stuff that we're talking about today. You go to your local store and you just buy one of these storage tubs, or you get them on Amazon in like a 100-pack for like $4, right? So you can grab one of these. So this is a Sterilite specifically. Look, I never took the sticker off. You can see all the scuffs and scratches all around this. This was my go-to plastic storage for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this was one I used the vast majority of the time. A couple things are very important and actually very helpful with these because you don't care what brand this is. They come in infinite dimensions.
So many. You
can get any size.
I have one of these that's like probably
a little bit wider.
2 inches wider.
Yep.
About the same height with no clips.
Yep. And so you can get the top however you want. You can have clips. I liked having the clips on there. You can not, right? Yep. You can have a snap-on. You can go no lid. You can drill holes in the bottom and go no lid and let the water just go out. Like it doesn't even matter. And if it gets wrecked, who cares? It's like $4. So this is the ultimate cheapo, best solution, hands down, guaranteed. You will be happy. Like measure the dimensions.
You can put unlimited stickers on the top. You can write and rewrite on them to do your labeling.
Yep, that's a great idea.
You can make your own out of just scrap material dividers that you just put inside.
Yep.
It's not perfect, but it definitely works.
Definitely. That was one of the cons I was going to point out. Is like typically what's going to happen is what I had, where you just stuff all your plastics in there, and then you lose everything. Like you have no idea where anything is.
Because you're not going to put it back in the exact same spot that you
pull it out
of.
It goes in the back. Like it just gets randomly replaced, and then you're like, where are my Nico baits? Where are my mules? Like if I can't find my donkey tails, I'm going to die right now. You will lose everything. Biggest pro for this though is that you can measure the dimensions of your boat and you can get the exact right size. You can also get these pretty tall, so clamshells will fit in here too, which is really nice. So I mean, because it's custom fit, like that is the biggest pro. The biggest con is you know,
no storage dividers.
Yeah.
I think is the biggest.
You're gonna lose your stuff.
The next con I would say is rounded edges. Almost all of these have rounded edges, and I think that's for strength of the design of these to be like as structurally sound as possible. It doesn't seem like a big deal until you realize these edges are also rounded, which means you're actually losing your ability to keep the bait standing up for a little bit longer. So as this starts to get a little more empty, everything just starts to fall flat.
Yep.
It also means that this is a very small gripe because every bag has this problem. 10-inch worms, typically you're not going to be able to fit them across.
Nope.
So that's a problem. Like G-Crack is notoriously in a separate bag for me, or it has to go along the side.
That also comes with a plastic dish tray.
Exactly. Now
the 5-inch bellows gills are a nightmare.
Now the benefit of not having dividers is that you can go this way. So I've seen people do 3 worm bags this way and go all the way across, which now means, yes, you may have a larger problem with putting stuff back where it belongs, but you can actually store unbelievable amount of plastic.
Plastic.
The amount you're getting here is insane. It also means less work loading and unloading your kayak. So if I have one of these and maybe
4 or 5
and maybe one other bag of like, hey, this is what I'm fishing for the day to do my video, which is how I used to do things. This was awesome. So for underseat storage, this is I'm gonna say it now. This is my number one. I'm actually going.
Mine is coming up.
I'm going back to this once I find the right size for me.
So for me, this is the pièce de résistance.
This is the premium option.
This is the top of the top. This right here, I just found randomly searching for stuff on the internet. I didn't even know these existed. They're actually brand new. They have a bigger size than this even, a full-size crate. Just think milk crate, but wider. And yes, you could get a milk crate that's wider. This is different, and I'll show you why in a second, but here is the crate that I'm using now. So this is from Sidio, S-I-D-I-O, and I'll leave a link in the description below. But this is just a heavy-duty, super tough crate. You can get this bottom liner if you want to. They have a ton of accessories that you can get for these things. So the cool thing about Sidio is that you can get like the base bundle, which will come with like dividers, the crate, the bottom liner, and then you can add things on. The obvious con here, the elephant in the room, is that these are expensive AF. Oh, neat.
They're not, no, hold on. You said they're expensive AF. The standard crate package that comes
$45.
with a lid, some dividers, and then the bottom, I think.
So let's start off with the accessories. You got the lid here. The lid, they're making a new one, by the way, that is way better.
With the clipped handles.
Yeah. So this has like these little inside tabs there. You can see they sit inside of the top lid. That means it's super secure. Oh look, here's the brand here. So that's
You get the flag too.
You get a little flag on there. You do get a little ruler station, which is super cool. It is a very tough material. We were doing some stuff before we started this video.
With it many times.
And Paul was hitting me over the head continuously. So this is super tough material. I did have this issue at first. I want to help everybody out if you buy this. I couldn't get this lid off.
I made fun of him incessantly for 10 minutes because I was watching him trying to open this. I'm like, you're doing something wrong.
Something's obviously wrong because I was pulling on this portion.
His tendons are like,
let me just show you how many plastics are in here. Probably. And it turns out there's just a tab right here. So.
And he instantly like, boop.
All right.
No, you do it.
So you just press this tab. Look at that. It's so simple now. My bad.
I'm watching him like he's literally trying to open an aluminum can with his fingernails.
Also have tried that. Okay, so here's the main crate. Oh, look at all the things in there. So there's over 100 bags of plastics in here right now. And look, 15 of them in the back here are clamshells.
Huge call.
So that's pretty sweet. And check this out. Let me get in close. Do you see all those tabs? You can put the divider anywhere you want in this entire thing. So I ended up getting 5, I only needed 3, but you get these dividers just like this, and then you can put them anywhere in here. So it's like infinitely customizable, it's amazing. And you got these little labels here that'll snap on top of those, and you can put them anywhere on that divider that you want. And then they're like dry erase material, so you can use permanent marker and then get it off with rubbing alcohol, it's fine, or nail polish remover. But you can just label that. I went ahead and just labeled them, put an arrow, like which side is which, that kind of dealio. So I thought that was huge. And it's wide enough, like I can put those massive bags in there, massive clamshells. It's tall enough that it'll hold all these things just sitting normally vertical, so I can go ahead and just like library through this thing.
Fits under the Hobie.
Yeah. And it's
seat.
perfect. It's actually the biggest dimension I could find for under the Hobies.
But this does fit incredibly well. It is extremely, I wouldn't say extremely, it's very, very heavy duty. And but it's the right balance of being heavy duty without being extremely heavy.
Right.
So that's the other thing, is it is heavier. It is the heaviest option of all of these.
It doesn't,
but not by much.
It's a milk crate. It doesn't weigh much.
It's negligible.
Yeah.
The other thing is they do stack.
Yep.
They do come in multiple sizes. You can certainly use this for other things.
You got your workstation recessed tray there, like that again is super nice, and it's see-through. I can see all my baits before I even open this baby up.
Which is the biggest problem with a lot of the other options that you're seeing. Like that's a really key differentiator between, we'll say, one of these and we'll say one of these. Being clear is huge, so you're kind of getting the best of both worlds from a benefit perspective.
So last call out on the Cydio crate, you can customize the colors however you want. You can get acrylic dividers, which are colors that you can choose however you want. So you could like go by color, just knowing which bait is in which section if you wanted to. They're coming out with a new, more durable lid that snaps on better. So there's that option as well. So I mean, it's really cool. The only drawback that I can think of for it is the cost. So it's like if you're willing to go all in and say like all my plastics are going to exist in one thing, and you want to have something that's going to last you forever and is fully customizable and you'll be super happy with, I'd go with the Cydio crate. And if you have a kayak that is not big enough, don't, right? All right, guys. So just to wrap this thing up, this is my top pick. You guys heard from Paul. This would be his top pick. Like any of these like basic crates, just measure where you're putting it. You can customize it however you want, and you can get it super cheap after holidays. For clamshells, this is our top pick right here. The big fat standout 6 cents bag.
For auxiliary plastics, like if you just need to bring something for a day trip, this is hands down the one for me.
Yep. These have a lot of drawbacks and we don't really use them anymore, except for the fact that they're semi-padded, so they're pretty good for accessories, line, blah, blah, blah.
Auxiliary stuff for sure.
Yep.
I recommend these to people who think that they will like them. I personally wouldn't recommend these unless you're looking to save a ton of space on something cheap, but this is pass for me.
Again, this just utility pretty much.
As far as the flambeau tub, I would say pass and just go for regular tub. Even at the price point with the dividers, I'm still saying just buy a regular tub. I think you'll be happier and I think it'll last longer.
All right, is that all of them?
That's it.
Look, we did it. We know this is a massive review, so we appreciate you guys for watching. Of course, if you're on the market looking for something like this, I hope this video is helpful for you, because I know stuff like this was always helpful for me when I'm poking around on the internet trying to figure out what the heck I can get to solve all my fishing problems. So if we did help you with your fishing problems, let us know in the comments below. Maybe also smash that like, ring that notification bell, and what did we say at the beginning?
Podcast. Oh, throat punch.
Throat punch the subscribe. The more aggressively you click your mouse, the more the more YouTube knows that you care. So thank you guys again. Be on our lives Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'd love to see you there and talk to you in chat. And we'll catch you on the next video.